2, episode 229.
There we go. That's right, mine wasn't making much of a heart. I'm Sheila, also known as Sheila D37.
And I'm Wendy, also known as Penny Winnie. For those of you who are new to the show, we really appreciate you checking us out. And for return viewers, welcome back.
We always appreciate that. Sorry, it's counting rows.
No, that's all right. So shout outs. At the end of the show, we're going to draw a prize winner for the View from the Charles pattern. And at the end of the show, we're also going to do a book review for a book called about River Ganseys from Cooperative Press.
Just a reminder, we're doing a knit along, crochet along for the month of October, November? November, December. No,
October, November.
For hats.
Yep.
All sizes, all kinds, crocheted, knitted, color work. And to tie into that, we're also doing a Bauble hat.
Yeah, it's a bonus knit along.
By Donna
Smith.
And did you get a chance to look at the...
Susan B. Anderson?
Yeah.
No, not
It's
yet.
actually, it's got some good tips. If you want to do it, I would suggest you go over to Susan B. Anderson's blog. It has some really good tips on how... I guess what seems to be the problem is it's coming out big.
On people, yeah.
Yeah. And she's got some really good tips on what she did. You still need to get the pattern the way that Ravelry suggests you get it. It's a free pattern.
Yeah.
You get it through the Sheep Weeks newsletter.
Yep.
But she has some really good tips, and I think I'll follow those when I do get a chance to cast that on.
Yeah, so check that out.
And
that's all we have for shout outs this week. So on the dance card.
Yeah. I go first. So on the dance card, I pulled out something, gosh, I don't know. I started this February.
Hey, at least you went back to it, right?
Well, I kept seeing it. I think I now know why I didn't continue it. But this is, so right now it seems to be a big fever of
sock
blanks. And I laugh because I've had sock blanks for years.
Well, I just had to laugh because I remember they were kind of big in like 2008. Do you remember?
They were.
Big, and then they kind of like faded out of existence.
And now they're back.
Now they're back again.
So this sock blank is from Knit Picks. If you are interested in a sock blank but maybe not want to pay the price, I don't know how much they cost. I haven't seen any because... So the sock blanks that have been out are one strand.
Right.
So you knit, you're not going to get identical socks.
Right.
You're going to get fraternal socks. But Knit Picks has a sock blank, a white one, and you can dye yourself, which is a lot of fun. But they're double-stranded so that you either do 2 at a time. I have one more sock blank left from when I was doing swaps. And I think what I might try this time, because I don't like doing the 2 strands at a time, because it comes to short. I think I might knit one with one, knit one with the other, like alternate like you would on a sweater.
Oh, yeah. Good
See
idea.
how that comes out? Because I am not a 2 at a time person. So anyways, I am knitting from a sock blank. This is what I have left of the sock blank. It had words written on it.
Yeah, it said that it was like fall theme.
Yeah, it was fall theme. Leaves, knit, autumn, whatever. And so I'm knitting with 2 strands at a time to get a worsted weight sock. And
and this may be stating the obvious, but for people who are not familiar with sock blanks, a lot of them are coming out now that have like designs stamped on them or words written on them, kind of like this. But just so you know, it's not going to look like this when you knit it up.
This kind of looks like bacon, I think somebody said.
Yeah.
It does kind of look like bacon. So even though it looks like this, you don't get the design.
No.
And it's a little crinkly, but that blocks out. Mine isn't as crinkly because I'm doing 2 strands at a time. And
but I know I heard at least one person wonder if the pattern knits up when you do it, and it doesn't.
Depending on how it's dyed. I mean, if you have colors going up in stripes, you'll get those colors, but you're going to get the white too, because no matter what, you're not going to get the saturation you would typically. This was dyed this way, so I get a little bit of the color that it's not as much white on the colored parts as it could be with stamping, because stamping is just one
Yeah,
sided.
stamping doesn't always.
And I know Gail's Art does stamping.
Yeah. So, but, you know, if Gail's Art has one with a ladybug stamped on it, you're not going to get a ladybug on your sock.
Mm-mm.
It's just so people know that.
Yeah, you're not.
If you've never dealt with sock blanks before, you might not realize.
Have you ever knit with one?
I
I don't think you did. I don't think you got
I don't
into
think
that.
I have, because
No.
it just
I think
seemed
that was
like
just me and
I don't like knitting with yarn that's been raveled that much, so I probably just avoided doing it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I also made a pair of socks last year sometime from the sock blank, but you and I took the time to unravel the sock blank.
Right, that's right.
And it still came out really pretty. That's the one I did.
Why did we unravel it?
Because I didn't want to knit two at a time.
Oh, so I knew that we had a good reason for unraveling it, and I remember
I didn't want to
unraveling
knit two at a time, and that was my where I did the J's only half, the
Right.
Jaywalker. That's this one I'm just going to show you.
Oh yeah, I remember that sock blank.
Yeah, so this was from a sock blank, but we unraveled the yarn, and it kind of looks paired because it was intentionally made to knit two at a time so that you would get.
So it does actually repeat.
But the ones that are out right now, unless they're from Knit Picks, as far as I know, it's just a single strand and it's longer.
Yeah.
Mine, I think, was about this long.
Yeah.
So it would be, it's 400 yards, but double-stranded, where the ones that are out there are 400 yards single-stranded.
Right.
I don't know what it's gauged at, if that's how you want to call it. But anyways, so this is just a vanilla sock. I think the last time I might have showed it was like here. So I'm just trying to power through it.
And get it done.
And get it done. And when I'm run out of this, I'm going to do double of this. I have one done. This is what it looks like. Just a plain vanilla sock, and it's going to be thick. This is, I don't think I'm going to be able to fit my foot into my work shoe with this.
Yeah.
Nor do I think I want to. That's a good boot sock. Let me feel
Yeah,
this
that's
thing.
a good boot. That's pretty heavy duty.
That's bulletproof there. That was before I loosened my gauge.
Yeah.
And now I know why I put them off until now. Anyways, that's all I have active on the needles.
I have just one thing on the needles. I showed this last week. I'm designing a sock that I'm calling Ribbon Candy because that's what I was thinking of when I saw this. And then Sheila also thought of that. So it seems like it's a good... There are a couple of other designs called Ribbon Candy sock, but I'm like, so what?
Yeah, come on. How many designs have I written?
Right. So these are my Ribbon Candy socks. This is on Mustache Yarns in the Nutcracker Candy colorway because these are my annual Christmas socks for me. And I really like this yarn. This is the first time I've knit with it. I guess she must sell online.
I have no idea.
I think she does. I've never tried to buy her stuff, so I don't know how difficult it is to catch one of her updates. But I was able to get this from SSK through a friend that was there who bought it for me. Like, I told her what I wanted, and she picked it out. So, and I have one more skein of it. And I like it. I think it feels really nice. It's knitting up really nice. It has nice stitch definition, I think, especially with this particular stitch that has a lot of twist in it. I think it's good. So I would recommend this yarn. I also kind of like that it has different size stripes in it. It's just different from what I normally do.
Which is what Ribbon Candy has. It has different size stripes
I
in
know.
it.
I just kind of like it. So anyway, I already have started writing up the pattern. I am going to put it up for sale after I have it test knitted. And it will tell you how I do my standard sock recipe. It will be a whole pattern, so you will be able to knit a whole toe-up sock with a short row heel from this. But I won't be using Fish Lips Kiss heel, which I do use on my socks, because that is a separate pattern.
Sorry.
So I will tell you where you need to come in with that if you want to buy that pattern. It's $1, I think. It's worth $1 to buy this
absolutely.
pattern. But I will be putting in just a generic short row heel instruction if you don't want to go out and buy Fish Lips Kiss. So that the pattern itself will still be a whole pattern. So you're not going to get stuck buying a pattern and not know how to make a sock.
Right.
So Anyway, that's all I have actively on the needles. Rate your date.
I have one to rate. Finally finished my Superfriends.
Yeah, it's Turtlepurl yarn in the Superfriends custom
Colorway. You can't really see it. But. So these are my 2 socks. I'm using my sock ruler as a blocker because I didn't bring mine.
Do you want to put it on?
No, that's fine. Nope. I'm bugging Oscar too because he bugs me. So this is my modified Rye Sock by Tin Can Knits. I just did it over 10 stitches. I don't remember what the pattern calls for, but this is also in fingering weight yarn. I did a Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I have to say, I like the fact that on Ravelry now you can do
multiple patterns. Yeah. Me too.
So nice. It's pretty nice because they came out, except for maybe a row, almost exactly.
Yeah, mine too.
And I love the yarn. I love the saturation of the colors. I'm happy. This all ends are woven in. I like to give my socks like one little block before I wash them because then after that they never get blocked again. So this is my finished sock.
Oh, looks good.
Yeah, it does.
I like it.
You finished. I finished. Becky finished.
Leanne finished. Lois doesn't have her yarn because she gave her yarn to
Denise. And
but she had one done.
I think Suzanne did one. I'm not sure where Tara is on it.
Yeah, I don't think she even started on them while
I don't
we were
think
there
she did because she was focused on the sweater. So,
yeah. So
I'm glad I have it done. I say I probably won't be casting on a pair of socks, but I'm planning on going to the movies, and you need something mindless. I think I need something mindless. Let's put it that way. I don't know about you. And if I want to do the babble hat, that's not mindless.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So I have a project half done. This is the first of the Nutcracker candy, ribbon candy pattern socks that I'm making. I like the way they came out. I don't normally make my sock leg this tall, but I made it extra tall because I really like the brown, pink, and green, and I wanted one more stripe to be on the front of the sock because it got kind of like when I did the heel.
I like how the heel, but I like how that worked out.
Yeah, I do too.
Because it almost looks like you did an afterthought heel, but you didn't.
Yeah, I like it too, and I purposely made it longer so I could have just a little bit more of this colorway on the top because I think it's really
pretty. Is this 2 skeins?
Yes, it was. They're OCD skeins.
They are.
So if you look, you can see that it's knitting up pretty much the same. I'm almost ready to turn the heel on this one. As soon as I get done with the blue, I'll turn the heel. So
I'm having a little cat fix, even though it's gonna make me pay for it later.
But yeah, I like how it came out.
Cute.
And that's what allowed me to start writing the pattern because now I'm knitting the second one and writing down any little notes. I don't really need notes because this is the sock that I always
Well, you don't
knit.
need you just maybe do like 2 repeats or whatever it
right.
is. But you know your toes, you know your heel.
Yeah, it's my basic sock. So anyway, that's the only thing that I have is my project half done.
Sorry.
And there's no Whirlwind Romance this week. I didn't work on anything outside of knitting. So future dates.
Future dates. So my future dates are to finish my Jekyll and Hyde hat for my son. Because believe it or not, at some point we will have cold weather. I'm not sure when. I know when we had a cold snap, they wore my, you remember the lined beanies I made from Federista?
Yeah.
They love those.
Yeah, those
I have
are
to
nice.
say, I like those. But snow may or may not be coming this year. Who knows? At some point, they're going to want the ski mask. And then the other thing that I'm pulling out of my... I don't know if I'd call it hibernation. I showed this a few weeks back when we were up in Maine. It's the Edison shawl, and I don't remember who it's by. It's supposed to be similar
It's in the show notes.
Similar to the color Affection without the short rows. So we'll see. I like the colors.
Yeah, I do too.
I got one strip of red.
In there.
Actually, I'm doing the DC, the Down Cellar Studio podcast pigskin party. I was trying to think of what it was.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things is points for the team colors. This might be able to pass.
Red, blue, and silver. That's pretty much the Patriots.
The Patriots. So maybe I'll get extra points for that. Anyways, I would really like to knit on this. So I'm hoping that I can do that. So my goal is to finish the hat, then maybe finish that, and probably cast on a sock just to have that as small generic knitting. Small generic knitting. Sorry, I'm playing with Oscar. That's all that my future dates hold. What about you?
My future dates, I definitely want to get Bauble going at some point.
I really do.
I'm excited to knit that, but I also am really excited to knit up the Rhinebeck cowl that I'm planning using this gradient.
I want to see you knit that up.
I know. I'm excited about that. So all I have to do is get some needles out and start knitting it. I just haven't done that. I've been busy with other stuff. This was a busy week.
And yeah, you probably want to get that going, finished.
Yeah, I want to get this done, but normally I like to switch between two projects, but I've just been so busy getting other stuff done this week. This is like the month where I have doctor's appointments for either me or someone in my family, like every day for 2 weeks. So it's just been crazy. But, yeah. And then,
sorry,
Oscar,
I'm having a lot
don't put your foot on my notes. He's mad because I touched his foot.
Well, now he's going to do other stuff.
Why don't you get down, honey?
I'm having fun with him, but yeah, come on. Oh, my goodness, you're heavy.
Yeah, he is. He's as fat as a house. So that's it for future dates. I got to finish some stuff up and then pull some stuff out that's been hibernating.
Baubles and Bling or Crushes and Heartbreaks?
Now it is Baubles and Bling.
Okay. So, the only Baubles and Bling I have is from someone who sent us something. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah, we have the same thing, so I'll show you.
I wasn't sure if you had more.
I don't have any.
So this is from, she didn't say, I couldn't say her name. So Vivi Knits, Vivian. She sent us some Hobby Lobby. I love this cotton, I think it's called.
Ooh, it's glittery, so it's hard to see.
I love this cotton, super soft.
Is it 100% cotton?
It is. It says 100% cotton.
It doesn't feel like cotton.
It doesn't feel like the kitchen cotton that we're used to is probably a good way of saying it. It's very soft. I grabbed the yellow. She grabbed the purple. And we both got a skein of, I'd say, Christmas.
It's multi. It's like blue, red, and green. So, yeah, it's Christmassy. And we each got a dishcloth made out of it. Where's yours?
I don't know. I had to find it. So thank you.
Yes.
And we also got candy, which...
Thank you.
Milky Way and pumpkin chocolate.
Candy.
In a little notebook and pen.
What?
Oh.
Sheila got hers all.
I got mine everywhere.
It coordinates with the yarn.
It does. Very nice.
This nice pamphlet called Nifty Knit Dishcloths, which looks to be pretty good.
It does. I was trying to figure
11, 12, 16.
I was trying to figure out how to use
16 different patterns.
You know, the thing I like about dishcloth pamphlets is you don't have to just use them for dishcloths. You can use these for squares on a blanket.
Yep. And you could use the stitch pattern on them on anything. Really.
Absolutely, yeah.
So thank you, Vivi Knits. This was a nice treat.
It was a nice treat. Thank you so very much. So that's all my Baubles and Bling.
Me too. I did order something. I was on Instagram and Fiber Nymph showed that she had an update. And I shouldn't have looked at it, but I was like, I just want to see what she has. And she had this new colorway called the 7 Deadly Sins. And so I bought it because it was on her bedazzled, I like that bedazzled base. And so basically that was my sin of gluttony. buying another skein.
So
of
you
self-striping
had
yarn.
one of the, you followed through with one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
Sorry, paying the price for playing with the cat.
Okay,
all
just
right.
making sure I had 32 stitches on the back. I'm about to start the heel on my sock, and I wanted to make sure I had enough stitches. Yeah, I did get a couple of weird things this week. I got a microwave popcorn maker. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I was listening. I was just trying to prevent myself
my friend
from
Lois
sleeping.
makes this really amazing popcorn in her microwave where I guess you put a little oil and some popcorn in it, and it's like this microwave popcorn bowl. You just microwave it, and it
Like regular popcorn from a...
Yeah, and I already had regular popcorn because I was always going to try that thing like you do with the paper bag, but I never got around to trying it. And then I also got that special salt seasoning that she puts on her popcorn. That's really good. So that I got all that this week. And I got something called the NutriBullet this week.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
I love it.
It like...
Nutri-Ninja.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
NutriBullet.
Well, there is a NutriBullet,
yes,
too.
that's why I keep getting them confused. Nutri-Ninja. I got Nutri-Ninja Pro. And you can make a smoothie, but unlike in my blender, it actually blends it up so it's a liquid.
Yes.
Instead of being kind of chunky in the bottom, so it's way better.
Yeah, it's supposed to be very powerful.
Yeah, it's like, it is. And I like it because you put the stuff in the cup that you're going to drink out of. Comes with 2 cups. And then you screw on the thing that has the blades, and you put it upside down and press it down, and it does its thing. And then you take it out, and you unscrew the blade and just rinse the blade off in the water. And you have your cup, and you can put a cup lid on it or put a straw in it. You're like ready to go. So you're only dirtying the cup and the blade, as opposed to when I do it with the blender, where I can't remove the blade, so I have to it's a pain to clean my blender.
Yeah.
And then I also have to dirty a cup because I have to pour it out of the giant blender thing. So I really like it. The kids have had smoothies. My mom's visiting. She had a smoothie, so... 2 thumbs up for the Nutri-Ninja Pro.
Speaking of popcorn.
Yeah. So, but that's it. I don't have any knitting, baubles, and bling, and I'll show the yarn that I bought when it comes in the mail.
Yeah, I'm using something new. My husband came home from California, and his mom, and I don't know if I mentioned this last week, apparently goes to a lot of the grand openings out there.
And to get free stuff.
To get free things. So this is one of the free things. It's a very good thermos. Keeps it really hot. It's for tea, and it's got the tea filter down here. So you put the tea up here, the filter here, and this actually removes. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to get your table messed up. But the tea, I put hot water in it this morning, and it was actually drinkable by lunchtime at 12:30.
This is like those ones that Jim got when he went to China.
Yeah, because if you go into Chinatown, you're going to get things for tea, more so than coffee.
Right.
And this is what we buy tea leaves. This is jasmine dragon pearl tea, and he got plenty.
Oh, good.
He got like 3 pounds. So that should save us for at least 6 months.
I know.
So, so this was one of the things he brought back, and there was a couple of other things. But his mom, he said, goes to the store at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Place doesn't open until 9. And she is not the first person in line.
I'm not surprised.
And so I guess the store does it for a few days. So this particular store did it for 4 days. They got this, maybe another different one, a rice cooker, a 5-cup rice cooker. So now his mom called to just give him some update about his aunt's ashes and stuff. And she said she has 4 rice cookers. And I go to Kim, I said to my husband, I said, what is she going to do with 4 rice cookers? Never mind the fact that she's got a 12-cup rice cooker that she uses every day. He goes, I don't know. I said, well,
but they were free, and that's the important
exactly
thing.
what it is. And I guess this is what she does with her time.
Well, there's popcorn going in the background. My son's making popcorn.
I guess it keeps her busy. I don't know. It's just really bizarre that they said that. And
well, hey, you got a new tea mug out of it. So
yeah, I love it. And it really does. It keeps things hot for good 6 hours.
The ones that Jim got when he was in Shanghai are that way, too. They're really good.
Yeah, it's one of those that
you
like...
almost burn yourself. Yeah.
I think at one point I put an ice cube in it so that I could make it at least passable, sippable. Yeah. Never mind drinkable, but So this is one of mine.
So next is gossip. No, crushes and heartbreaks.
Crushes and heartbreaks.
Third time's a charm.
Sure. Crushes and heartbreaks. I went to my sleep doctor. I don't know if I've told you guys I've been having issues sleeping. They thought it was sleep apnea. I have a mild form. So I went to my sleep doctor. I told him that, it's okay. And he's like, let's try it a little longer. I'll follow up in 6 months. But if it's not improving, in 2 to 3, call him. And we can either do a more in-depth sleep study at the hospital where they actually watch you.
No, yeah, that's the kind I had.
To see if, I had that long ago, to see if maybe I have restless leg issues.
Or something like that, yeah.
Or something else going on. Or to just give me drugs for that. I'm like, well, we'll see. So it was super nice. This guy is from one hospital, and we merged with this hospital, and I saw him last week at a code.
Yeah.
And he's like, why didn't you say hi? I'm like, because I'm a patient of yours at business. It's in the middle of a code. I'm not going to say, oh, hey, never mind the patient.
Handing out blood, stat. Hey, doctor, how you doing?
Yeah.
Remember me?
So he's like, well, next time you should say hi. I said, I'll make sure. He may remember me next time, too. But anyways, he's super nice. The one complaint I have, and I don't know, I haven't been to the doctors very often, and the ones that I do go are kids.
Yeah.
So you usually get your full attention. He was recording his notes while he was talking to me.
Yeah.
I've never had that before. I found it to be very rude.
Well, what do you mean by recording it? Saying them into a recorder?
So he'd talk to me, and then he'd say, okay, she's sleeping well or she's not sleeping well, and just repeating it. But looking at me like, I don't know, I just found it
Because
odd.
I have had a bunch of different... The place I go, I get all my care at Mass General, and it's customary for them to write their notes while they talk with me, but most of them type them while they're talking to me.
That's fine.
But he might not
uses
be able
a recorder.
to type. So
it must be like dragon
recorder.
speech or whatever
Right.
it is. It just, I found it odd because when he's repeating the notes, he's looking at me like this, and I'm like...
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's ever since they got onto the electronic note system.
No,
that's
all the
how
doctors,
they do it
all
on
the
online.
doctors have written the notes. I've had no issues with that.
No,
but
I mean,
it was the
but ever
recording
since they've
portion
got
of
on
it that
to the written one, they're either typing them or I've never had somebody speaking them, but
this one, well, that's the
I'm
thing.
just
I've never
kinda
had
used
it speaking. I've always had it written. And, basically he wrote out the note or spoke out the notes. And then when I went to check out, there were the notes that I had just heard him. So, I mean, it kind of maybe sits in your brain a little bit more, too, when he does it. But it was just made me feel awkward.
wow.
I don't know. It's just weird. It made me feel like... And then he had a student. He asked if it was okay. A fellow, not a student, a doctor fellow. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I mean... I didn't change into anything. We were just talking about the progress. And he was very happy that I had gone the CPAP, and then he was funny because he was happy about my weight loss, and he doing a couple of fist bumps.
Well, that's good.
So yeah, that was crush and heartbreak there. But other than that, a little heartbreak is I think I broke my son's heart today because he couldn't go on a play date because I'm here recording, and my rule is no kids in the house when the parents aren't there.
Which is a good rule.
It is a good rule. And, I mean, he's only 12.
Yeah.
I don't need the response. It's not... Somebody asked me, do you not trust him? I trust him. But things can happen, and I'm not there. And I don't want the other parent to say, why weren't you there?
Well, I've left my daughter, who's 12, home alone for like 10 or 15 minutes with a play date who's also 12. To run my son somewhere or grab something at the store. But I would never just let them have a play date when no one was home.
Right.
Because of the same reason. Accidents can happen. Somebody could fall down and get hurt.
Exactly.
And I would hate for that to happen, and I wasn't there to take care of it. So
that's the reason why. And he was in tears because he couldn't have the play date. And I felt really bad. So I was the mean mom. But you can tell he was upset when you go, I love you. Yep. Now this is the son that my son Zachary, where it's I love you more, I love you always, I love you forever. Like we have this whole thing.
Yeah.
So for him to say yep,
he was.
I was in the doghouse. It's been cleared up. But
You know what? It's hard to be a good parent.
You can't be their friend.
That's right.
As much as you'd like to be, you cannot be their friend.
It's hard to be a good parent.
When they're 30, you can be their friend.
Yeah. Once they're no longer under your roof and
then you can
subject
be
to your rules, I think you can be friends.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's my crushes and heartbreaks, I guess. I'm sure there's more. I never remember them.
And my big crush this week is still my mom is visiting, and she's helping me get all my stuff done. So that's really good. My son has also had a banner, excellent week since the bad teacher-parent conference. So I'm really happy about that. Like, he's really making an effort.
Good.
And all of a sudden, instead of taking him 2 hours to do his homework, he's getting it done in 15 minutes. So I think a lot of it was just
anxiety,
resistance, stubbornness. So I am feeling less worried that he might have ADD and more just that he's stubborn and he doesn't want to do what he doesn't want to do.
How old is he? 9?
Yeah.
That's a typical kid.
But now, when we have new policies or whatever, I think he's realizing that it's not getting him anywhere to fight, so he's starting to fall in line. Good. So that made me really happy. I met with my oncologist yesterday, and that was a really good conversation. Like, I felt good. She is really happy about my choice to go to the weight center. Good. And she is very curious to see what's going to happen at my next mammogram in January. And she agrees with me that having these many migraines a month is not a normal or reasonable thing for a human to endure. So I'm going to see her in 6 months unless my mammogram comes back weird again. If my mammogram comes back weird again, we have to talk about what we're going to do next. Because ideally, taking the tamoxifen for a year would make it so that I don't have any kind of growths or anything showing up in there. If I do still have it, then that's a whole different thing. As she said, we'll talk about that if it happens. Otherwise, I'm going to see her in 6 months, and if I'm still having more than one migraine a month, we're going to talk about my medication options. Okay. So I think we're going to try going off of it first for a month and see if I have an abatement of migraines. And if I do, then she's going to see what she can do about finding another option for me. And there are a couple of other things that could happen to do that. None of them are great, so I guess I'll just wait and see what happens. But ever since my pill delivery fiasco, I now have 7 months worth of tamoxifen. She's like, do you want to go off it for a month now? And I was like, no, I might as well just use up the 7 months of medicine I paid for. She's like, oh, I see what you mean. I'm like, yeah, after I shelled out all that money for it, I feel like I should take it. It's not like I'm dying. I have the medication to manage the migraines, and I do think they're getting less severe and farther apart. So I'm hoping they're just going to go away. But it was a good conversation with her, so that was good. That's good. And I started my weight center appointments today, and my first appointment went really well, so I'm excited about that too. And I'm seeing a nutritionist next week. Oh, good. So I'm interested to see how that appointment goes. And yeah, my doctor said that based on my last sleep study, I probably have sleep apnea, so I'm going to probably have to go through another sleep study. Yeah, which is fine with me. I would like to get better sleep.
It's important.
Yes, it is. It's not good for your brain not to get enough sleep.
Not good for your body, health-wise, like heart and stuff. That's why sleep apnea is such a serious thing, because that can affect your heart.
Yeah, it can affect a lot of things. Mm. It's not good for you not to get good sleep. So the doctor said what would you think about having another sleep study? And I was like, all right. You know?
Yeah, that's why when my doctor's like, well, we might need a more in-depth one here. And I'm like, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Really, I'm all for it.
I told him, whatever you think I need, just tell me to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, too.
And the other good news is it was my psychological workup, and I don't need a psychiatrist or a psychologist. He's like, you don't need to speak to me again, because you're all
You mean
set.
you're not batshit crazy?
Apparently, I'm not that crazy. Contrary to popular belief, I am not mentally ill, so.
I think we're all a little crazy at times, though.
But
that's a whole nother animal.
He was like, you're pretty healthy mentally. So
yeah,
that made me feel good.
Me, on the other hand, if I went to that, well, I have this trigger, that trigger. I'd be not crazy-wise, but just I know I have
Does your
food
program
triggers.
do?
It does, but it's so hard for me to get in there. I may have to talk to him. I meet up with him Tuesday, and I know I have triggers. Like today, I went for lunch, and there was a bag of candy. Instantly just grab some. That's like, without even thinking, I grab it. I have triggers that if I think about it, I obsess about it. Although I was good, because when I come here, I've gotten into a routine sometimes that I go and get a nice coffee at Honeydew. It's just passes that. Well, then you end up grabbing a donut. Well, my attitude is if there's no parking in front, it was not meant to be. Because you know the Honeydew I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
So I was proud of myself that I drove right by it.
Well, good. You made a healthy choice.
I did make a healthy choice after the 4 snack-sized Snickers that I ate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and I lost 3 pounds since Wednesday.
Since Wednesday? Yeah, that's the scale.
Well, you know, I've been the same weight now for 2 years.
And then all
to
of
the
a sudden...
ounce. To the ounce, right? So, and then I went and I had to get weighed at my oncology appointment. Same weight to the ounce. I go into the weight center today, and they weigh me. They have one of those big fat people scales, like the really big one.
Oh, no, we have them at the hospital. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
And I'm 3 pounds less on that one.
Are you still qualified, though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm more than qualified to be in the weight program. I'm fat enough to be in the weight program. So, yeah, I lost 3 pounds, and I don't know. I think it might have been because I had a fasting blood draw. So I didn't eat anything.
Oh, okay.
So maybe I just was like, I don't know. I was like, woohoo. But, you know, I was telling people, I have been doing stuff. It's not like I just sit around. I have been working out. In certain periods, I've been working out. I've been cutting my food back. I've been doing things. I never lost any weight. And the guy, like, pulled up my thing, and he's like, wow. You went like this for a while? And he's like, now you're just on a plateau. I was like, I know.
So the blood work today, did they tested just thyroid and everything's normal, or?
Oh, I had my thyroid done in September.
And that's normal. Okay.
Everything's normal. I had a fasting blood draw done at my physical in September, so I don't imagine anything too different.
And the fasting one drawn this morning was just part of the protocol.
You have to have it done before your nutrition appointment.
Nope, that makes sense.
So I had it done, and they're really nice. They have everything's contained in their office. So there's doctors there, surgeons there, the nutritionist is there. They have psychologists there that work with you. There's like a downstairs you can go to a gym where they teach you like exercises to do and stuff. It's all like contained in one area, and I kind of like that. If I need to see somebody that same day, I just go down the hallway, so it's nice. Good. Yeah, I think it's going to be really good, and I had a very positive experience today talking to the psychologist. He made me feel like positive that there's going to be some change in my life and that it's going to get taken care of.
Good.
And he did not make me feel bad or like I'm a bad eater or something, because I actually don't have a lot of really bad eating habits. So
He didn't make you feel bad that you were overweight.
No, and I actually told him I'm so lazy. He's like, I find it hard to believe that a mother of 2 children is ever lazy. And so then I said, well, I guess you're right. I'm lazy when it comes to me. Like, I will bust my butt for other people, but when it comes to doing something for myself, I'm lazy.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
But so far everything from the initial consult, lecture to all the people I've dealt with to this appointment has all been very positive and pro-healthy, not trying to beat you down or make you feel bad that you've failed so you have to be there. And none of that. It's very positive. It's very patient positive. So 2 thumbs up for a Mass General Weight Center.
Good.
And that's it for my crushes and heartbreaks.
So gossip and innuendo.
We need to draw a winner.
We didn't do that.
I know. Usually we do that at the beginning.
So we're going to be doing it live. So why don't you talk? Okay, we need to do it. We're doing a book review.
I'll do the book review while you do that.
While I get ready for the...
I'm going to talk about the book first, and then after she draws the winner, I'll show you some pictures of the book on her iPad. The book is called River Ganseys, and it has a really long title, and I agreed with Sheila at the beginning that I'm just going to call it River Ganseys, because it's something like River Ganseys, striking to loops, swaving, and other Yorkshire knitting.
Yeah,
it's really long.
It's River Ganseys and then a subtitle, and it was just...
It's really long. And I'll tell you the name of the author of it when Sheila finishes with what she's doing.
Sorry.
But, yeah, we forgot to do this. Usually we do this before we start recording. So anyway, I absolutely loved this book. Cooperative Knits has given us 4 books to review over the next few weeks. We're going to be doing them. And I immediately started reading this one just because the topic interested me. For those people who don't know, a River Gansey is a sweater that's usually knit in wool, and it's decorated with more like texture designs that are made with knits and purls. So it's not really usually cabled or anything. Usually all the motifs are worked with purls and knit stitches. And there are some history and lore about them. Like, people used to say that the designs were so specific that if a sailor fell off a ship and washed up on shore, you could tell who he was from his sweater. That's probably not true. But there are some different areas that developed local designs and stuff. And it's just kind of a fascinating history. And the woman that wrote it
is Penelope Lister Hemingway.
I knew her first name was Penelope because that name is easy to remember. She is a genealogist and a knitter, and so this book, rather than being a typical book of patterns, is more like a history with some patterns on the end.
So this is the first page. Sorry, it's hitting the glare.
So she goes through knitting, what it was like to knit in the Yorkshire Dales, the styles of knitting, how some people use these knitting belts and these, I can't remember what they're called, but they're like knitting holders. They're a little wooden holder that you put your needle in. And then there are these belts that you stuck your needle in the holes in the belts and you knit real fast.
Yeah, it helps you. So I'm just going to show you the content page.
It's hard to see. There you go.
It's like you said, I think you said it's mostly a history book more so than a pattern.
And which I love. I enjoyed reading every bit of it. She talks about the different kinds of people who wore ganseys. She has tons of old pictures of people knitting, wearing ganseys, of the old knitting tools that they have. Knitting stick. That's the wooden thing. It's called a knitting stick.
This one?
Yeah.
Or that one?
Both of them are knitting sticks. They're like, you can stick your needles in them and they help,
Kind of, I know, who is it? Yarn Harlot?
Yarn Harlot can do pit knitting. And then there's another one where you stick the needle right off of your belt and you're basically just going like, instead of holding it, you're working it on there. And then because she's a genealogist, she talks about stories about people that are from Yorkshire and the history of the knitting techniques that they used and the kind of textiles that they used. And there's a whole section on how you want to spin to make your own wool to make a gansey. And she has some family stuff that she talks about.
This is just a couple of pictures of family members wearing their ganseys.
Right.
It's hard to see on our computer
But she found photographs of the kind of people that used to wear ganseys. That was another myth. People think that only sailors wore ganseys, but lots of people wore ganseys. They were just a very common style of sweater. And I just, if you're interested in knowing more about how people used to knit with different tools and methods, and the different kind of cloths and styles that they used to get with their knitting, and the kinds of materials that they used, and all kind of woven in with stories and history from the Yorkshire Dales. This is a really interesting book. And I like that kind of academic stuff. And then, so you build through the history of Ganseys. She goes through the myths and the truths about Ganseys. And
I like this picture. An unknown salty sea tar from a sardine advertisement wearing the Eye of God motif.
Yeah, she talks about
and some of the... This is like Gordon's fisherman type of guy.
She talks about how some of the...
you can almost see the diamond shape right
there.
Yeah,
it's right... Where's my finger? Right there.
Yeah,
that's
there.
We go. There we go. It's really fascinating, and she talks about where things came from and why things were done that certain way, and everything that she discusses is backed up with her historical and genealogical research. And she also talks about her own family in relation to some of the knitting stuff and her own experiences. And then at the end, she includes 5 or 6 patterns of different modern takes on Ganseys so that you can knit one of your own. And each pattern has charts for the motifs. So you can see that's the Eye of God motif, I think.
I'm not sure.
That's what, it's the diamond motif. I don't know if that's technically the Eye of God. And just, how the shoulder is done, how the decreases were done, how they would knit them. Generally, they were knit on several long double-pointed needles is how they used to do it.
Because they didn't have circulars back then.
They didn't have circular needles back then. And I think that not only would this be great if you wanted to knit an actual Gansey, which is, I don't know, it's kind of like one of those traditional things like an Irish
cabled sweater.
It's one of those traditional things. So there's plenty of stuff for you to knit your own sweater out of this, but you could also take the motifs and create your own sweater or make hats or mittens or a scarf using those motifs.
Yeah, they just have several sections. I don't want to show it because it is a pay-for-book.
But they have lots of sections of
lot
motifs.
of sections of charts. And, like a 13-stitch chart. You could use that for a mitten or a fingerless glove. For texture, just adding texture, or sock going up the cuff. Absolutely.
And it would kind of inspire you, too, to, come up with your own patterns because, again, it's just working with mostly knits and purls to make this textured designs on your thing. And then she talks about another unusual kind of Gansey called a popton. A popton is a striped Gansey. It's constructed like a traditional Gansey, but with stripes. And Sheila and I think this photo looks like it's from the 70s.
It does. The other thing I made mention to Wendy is a lot of the Ganseys seem to be short.
They were designed and knit to be very short-waisted.
Probably so that it didn't catch on anything.
Probably. And a lot of them had short sleeves, too, like shorter sleeves.
Right.
But I'm sure that if you wanted to, you could make the body longer. And a couple of the more modernized versions for women do have a longer length so that you don't have that, short Gansey look. But it's a really fascinating book. I mean, I guess if you like Gansey knitting, this is a great book because you get some nice Gansey patterns, but it's even better because you get all of the history. And if you're a history buff and would like to read something really well-researched about the origins of this type of knitting and Ganseys and their patterns, this is a great book. So we're going to offer this as a as a contest. I just want you to tell me your favorite pattern from this book.
There's about a handful of them.
5 or 6.
And then at the very end, they give you a blank chart, so you can make your own. You can, it's 15 rows up and 50 rows across. And then it does the alphabet.
There's an alphabet, too, so you could put initials on your Gansey.
And it does 2 different alphabets, actually, I think.
It's pretty nice.
It is. And then your symbols and
There's also there's men's, women's, and there's a children's version
there's
of
one
Gansey
child,
too.
yeah.
So whoever wants a free copy of this from Cooperative Press, who's sponsoring the contest, I'll start a contest thread, and we will draw a winner in 2 episodes, which will be episode 231. So join in on that, don't forget. And this is really, if you like reading books that are about history and about knitting, and I like it. I just think, for me, I liked the history part of it even more than the patterns. I don't think I'd ever knit a Gansey, but I would have gotten this book just to read about the history.
Yeah, I like that stuff too.
And she does a very good
detailed
job, and she personalizes it and makes it more like a story to read and not really dry like some histories are. So I highly recommend it.
So the winner for our shawl contest, the View from the Charles from Jen
Lassonde,
where it uses DK, and the winner was number 15, DP Temple. She said she would use Nerd Girl yarn.
DP Temple, PM me please, and I will send you. Oh wait, don't even PM me. DP Temple, I will send your name to Jennifer Lassonde and have her send you a copy of the pattern.
And I think that's it, right?
That's it.
What Fiber Festival is this weekend?
New England Fiber Festival is this weekend in Springfield at the site of the Big E. I may or may not go. I'm still on the fence about it.
I'm not. We're going to see a movie.
Well, that sounds
We're
good.
going to go see Peanuts.
Ugh. That'd be 2 hours of my life I can never get back.
You know what? I'm looking forward to it.
Don't get me wrong. I like the Christmas peanut special, I think. There's one peanut special that I like, but the rest of it, I'm like...
Oh, see, I've always been a fan of the Peanuts. My brother had the little Woodstock doll. I probably had Snoopy. So I've always been a fan of Peanuts.
Well,
we had the Peanut encyclopedias. I think we had 2 of them.
Wow.
Which had like encyclopedia of moving things, encyclopedia of... It was just a couple of different things.
Right.
So
cool.
So we'll see.
Well,
I guess that's it.
I think that's it. Thank you again for watching, and everybody have a great week.
Have a good week. Knit with heart.
Bye.